seem a bit favored in this particular matchup with so many things needing to be banned and things wanting to be picked up.
We'll see if the AD carry bans will continue. It feels like Caitlyn and Kalista now are perma-banned. We saw Tigers put everything on getting Rakan and then fall behind, and Rakan as an initiator couldn't do anything in a game like we had in Game 1, so maybe we'll see where Afreeca's premium goes. They won't be banning supports. First ban is actually onto the Syndra, which is one of the champions Lava has played at the professional level.
Yeah, Syndra going to be going away. If they're going to continue on that one, I believe Orianna probably should see a ban. They could have actually just banned away the 3 champions he's played so far in LCK Summer. He's going to opt out of that just for the moment. Caitlyn is going to be the ban here for the Tigers. So continuing, like you said, on that AD carry train. And Afreeca going to throw some spanners in the works now with the Elise on the blue side.
It does strike me as the Afreeca Freecs reaching for a first pick Rek'Sai and the Tigers being forced to ban Caitlyn and Kalista on red side. They have to ban Zac as well. Kalista could slip forward to first pick if Afreeca won it, and Kramer has looked good on it. I don't think giving Kalista to ROX Tigers is a winning decision. You could even just ban Rakan or Kalista on blue side if you wanted to, as the Afreeca Freecs, or the Galio as a consideration as well.
Yeah, they need to opt into banning something away. Kalista would make some sense, as Shen is actually going to be the option, so a bit of a throwaway ban, but also certainly a ban to something that Shy would like to play towards the top side and has been one of his comfort picks.
The issue is I've just named 3 strong champions. It does mean things will be available for both sides. The Tigers could have banned none of the above and just taken something like a Galio Rek'Sai draft, but it feels like the Galio priority has gone down. Kalista is now seen as this must ban. Do the Afreeca Freecs just take Galio on blue side as first pick and continue their Flex City that clearly they're able to play?
Yeah. Go to 3 roles for now. See whether Mowgli, maybe Mowgli's just been like getting into like practice mode and been practicing jungle Galio, and that's where we're going to be flexing it to this time around. That'd be exciting. But the Tigers certainly with a wealth of options at their disposal. Songwon could go back towards his Rek'Sai if he feels like it, but still a wealth of picks up for them to take. And with Xayah available, and with the ability to pick it away from Kramer, that makes some sense here in the first round.
Yeah, the priorities on AD carries are really interesting this week in LCK. This might only be an Afreeca versus Tigers thing, but you'll notice Ashe and Varus were unpicked in Game 1, unbanned as well.
Yeah.
So it's a takeaway Xayah, like you mentioned, Atlas. The Rek'Sai draft makes the most sense, given that she, I should say, is by far the highest priority jungler available. With Elise gone and Zac gone, Lee Sin is a lot more situational, but maybe Songwon will just want to take away the Gragas, that some people will take over the Rek'Sai, but on 7-13, with even more buffs under the hood, it feels like Rek'Sai is the jungler du jour.
Yeah, Rek'Sai certainly makes some sense. Of course, now with Cinderhulk looking a little bit better, Gragas been getting a little bit more favor in that regard, switching over from the Runic Echoes, making him a bit tankier in the early game. However, definitely dangerous, and Songwon did want to play the Rek'Sai last time around, and we know that Mowgli has been practicing it. Find it interesting that he'd forego the pick for this draft, but might be something that they want to work in with Xayah, you know, make sure that you can catch people out with the explosive cask, pin down that single target, and let Sangyun do his work.
I wonder where Corki will fall in this draft, because Lava could still take it on red side, then they could just ban Kassadin in the next round. But now Afreeca will just draft the very much perma-picked status Braum as the blind support choice. Does mean that Galio is more likely to be going mid lane, but could still be a Marin champion as well.
That is going to be the Rakan delivered over to the Tigers as well. So mentioning the fact that the Braum was picked up means that they're no longer going to be flexing that Galio into the support position, and it means that Rakan and Xayah can both go over to the ROX Tigers. So all of those Lovers Duo perks that you do pick up are going to be prevalent on the bottom side of the map.
Does kind of suggest that the Tigers' blue side strategy was a failure, given that the Rakan priority from Afreeca Freecs is much lower. I feel like other teams might show similar priority, like ROX does for the Rakan, but definitely a lot lower for the Afreeca Freecs in this series at least. And now we're looking at the bans, and people seem to think it will be the 8th game for Kuro on the Galio, given the Rumble ban here.
Yeah, Rumble going to be taken out of the way, and top Galio has certainly fallen out of favor. I do like the support Galio pickup, but it feels like if he's going to go into a lane, it should probably be mid, right?
Well, if we're going to make requests, if we're going to make wants, is it time to see Marin on the Gnar? One of his famous picks.
Ooh.
Gnar has been buffed on 7-13. It didn't feel like Korea needed an invitation to pick the Gnar. It was already being picked as the Renekton answer. We're still looking for the next round of picks. For now, no sighting of the Corki, and it will just be the Kog'Maw ban. Interestingly, that Kramer, rather than at Sangyun, is much more of a Kog'Maw player than Kramer is.
I just wanted to get that LPL draft out of the way. Just not an option now for Afreeca Freecs.
Which, I guess, given what was drafted already, they were the sort of team that could just pivot to either full engage or full disengage. You can play, as you say, a Kog'Maw comp by peeling backwards.
Okay, so the Renekton's going to be banned, so it means that Afreeca probably not looking for that Gnar first pick or something like that, as Lava's going to head back towards the Corki by the looks of things.
Feels like the invitation is there, with the likelihood of it being a Galio mid lane to take the Corki, but flexibility is still there with the Galio. So very interested to see what happens on Afreeca's side.
Yeah, still flexing that top lane as well, with the Gragas possibly being able to go up there for Shy if he feels like it.
Now, Lucian is looking like it's going to be a mid lane pick into the Corki. We saw it yesterday from BDD. This is a really good matchup for the Lucian if we see it. It could also just be an AD carry Lucian, given that Kramer is a big Lucian player and Lucian Braum is a strong duo. We're going to have to really hold our thoughts till the final draft pick comes through from Afreeca. They have a lot going on in the draft.
Yeah, they've certainly made sure that their drafts are elusive until the very end, Papa Smithy. That is going to be the Lucian locked in, but now, which lane is going to be picked up? We know two of these champions are jungle and support, because we're probably not going to see the Braum top, something like that.
The Rek'Sai top was a Samsung special back in 2015.
Oh yeah, the dream. Okay, Marin's going to head towards one of his positive win rate champions in solo queue over the last few days.
Yeah, by far his most played, so it is actually going to be AD carry Lucian. I guess it could be AD carry Cannon, but I'm getting a headache considering all the options now, but probably going to be AD carry Lucian and the top lane Cannon, given that Marin has almost exclusively in solo queue been playing the Cannon. It has just been on-hit Cannon, if you guys are wondering. The AP Cannon days seem to be behind Marin.
Even though Cannon has had a recent buff to his AP ratios, and you're not going to have as much help with that Runan's Hurricane anymore, but Shy, he's going all in onto the Gnar towards the top side of the map, and it's going to be two little guys smacking each other until one of them's a really big guy. Smacks one of them a little bit harder, and we'll see how it is going to go for Marin versus this Gnar, and with a different opponent towards the top side of the map could be a very different game, especially considering the fact that Mowgli is going to be joining Songwon in the jungle as well. So top side of the map has changed. We'll see who that's going to benefit as we head towards the Rift.
Yeah, all Yordles all the time in the top lane. Notable that Shy has never been a strong Gnar player. He's played 10 games of Gnar in his career, 2-8, so it hasn't been a winning champion for him, but I guess a lot of that was during the struggle streak that was 2016 and onwards for the side of Shy. Still Shy versus Marin, a legacy top lane matchup to get hyped about with the Cannon versus Gnar. Mowgli back into the team for the first time in the summer season. Has a winning record, is on the Rek'Sai. Practice picks across the board for the side of the Afreeca Freecs, but this time Lava is going to have a little bit less of a target on his back. This time he's against the Galio. Should be a comfortable farm lane as we see our debut, or re-debut I should say, of Lucian AD carry from Kramer.
Yeah, we saw the Lucian AD carry at Rift Rivals as well, so maybe a little bit of that sneaking back in, but of course Kramer, certainly a Lucian player back in the day. Tusa going to be jumping back on the Braum. His second most played here in LCK Summer, and we'll see whether it's going to make things work on the bottom side, because Lucian Braum has been a scary one, but Kalista Rakan also scary. Let's find out how it goes as we hop onto the Rift.
Well, it seems like we're having a couple of issues here, Atlas.
Yeah, a little bit.
Sometimes there are these little problems. I know they were having a lot of problems at the Gangnam Stadium yesterday, so hopefully we'll be getting to game very shortly. Excited to see if Afreeca Freecs can keep it going. Such a great game one for them. ROX Tigers have a little bit to talk about in their draft. The Zyra Khan Lovers bot lane in full action, so can Lucian Braum actually function in a world now where you do have all the dash? It's a very different bot lane now with Zyra Khan available.
Yeah, and how does this draft work from the Afreeca Freecs? They had a clear game plan last time around with how their draft was going to function. They had a lot of sort of gank pressure with the Elise being available, things like that. Spirit was getting in amongst it and getting their lanes ahead, and you were able to then rotate the Galio around to these separate lanes, go for dives, take turrets, snowball things that way. But How is this composition going to get it done?
You could notice, you can lock people up pretty fast with the Lucian Braum and then have Galio come in. So we were already complimenting Tusana, MVP in Game 1, for his Galio rotational play. Still possible here from the mid lanes. We have some global fans in the audience. Greetings from Germany. Thanks for coming over.
Yeah, thank you very much. Oh, they can't hear us. Unfortunate.
Sure. They can watch the pod back, though.
Yeah, hopefully they will. You can see that they're famous now. I think we're going to be heading towards Summoner's Rift now, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's do it. Okay, I remember this time, Papa Smithy. I wasn't overexcited. Now here we are. Game number 2. Can Afreeca pick up another 2-0? They've only had 2 of them so far this season. A lot of 2-1s and a lot of 1-2s. But our 2-game series certainly isn't what Freecs like to do.
Playing around. The strength of the lane's probably going to be a consideration here. And so here in full force, which is good to see, is it's a celebration of Shy, whose 5th anniversary as a pro player was yesterday, I believe.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
coming in, one of our stalwarts of the scene. Always cool to see him play. Maybe this is just a anniversary present, or maybe it really is the ROX Tigers finding the formation that will actually let them take down Afreeca Freecs in Game 2.
Maybe Shy is their nominated NAR player as well for the top side of the map.
With a win rate like that, I'm not so 100% sure. That should be the way to go, Atlas, but wants to make it 3-8 in his career as, well, Marin's against Shy, someone he's had many great battles against, and of course,
he builds a co. Yeah. Sort of the Marin way. He often doesn't have a look at the nameplates, though. I have a feeling he just walks to the lane and says, I'm going to bully you, and does so.
I mean, I can understand it on the Renekton, because he can just be like, well, I kind of have my own skin for this, so whatever you're doing, I've done it better. I won Worlds, you know?
Yeah.
In my head, Marin tells everyone in every conversation that he won Worlds.
Just loads up into a solo queue game. First thing he says is, do you guys remember when I won Worlds? Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, people tell them there's like a queue at the bank. He's like, you know I won Worlds in 2015. Right?
Yeah, so give me your card with a smaller number on it. Okay. So Kramer and Tucson, we'll see how much pressure they can put on. Of course, the shorter range of Lucian not going to be as much of a problem with Xayah in the lane. Now Marin, slight nerfs on the AD cannon. Going to continue to try and make things work. I'd like to have a look at the cannon, see whether he's got any sneaky AP in there.
You notice Fervor is the keystones. That means that very unlikely
Could be a laning keystone. I don't know. I'm staying optimistic, Pop Smithy.
Your glass is half full, but perhaps you should put it down and consider not looking anymore.
When isn't it?
I heard you cheering for basically every underdog at Rift Rivals, so it feels like all the time it is as half full as possible.
Hey, I believed in Marchi, and then Marchi won.
It's true.
So, look, sometimes it works.
10% of the time, it works every time.
Oh, yeah. I believe it's 60% of the time. But yeah, definitely every time. Marin does get the stun, and he's still a bully, so it doesn't really matter. Can change things a little bit. It's still going to be a bit of a problem, as Mowgli was going on a bit of an adventure.
Kennen has the lane in a really good spot here, so Gnar can't actually respond to the invasion. It's why Rek'Sai could overextend for a couple of the big Krogs before having to pull back.
And you can see Marin just doesn't care about the wallop. That range is a little bit too high, and he's going to continue to try and win this lane. Kuro versus Lava, pretty happy, but Kuro had just teleported back to the lane and is now looking for the kill. Passive goes off, just bonks him on the head. There's the jump over Shy. Decent positioning, but the Hyperprox flashed. Marin's going to create enough distance to get out of the way.
Yeah, flashes the body slam flash as well from Songwan, so that was the only way he was going to get away in that scenario. That means he's laning without flashes of cannon, so we already saw the repeat ganks from Spirit in Game 1 help Marin out a lot. We'll see if Songwan this time sets a tent up around topside.
It's another taunt for Kuro. War doing some work, and Lava actually down to 300 health, getting bullied now. But the extra Doran's item comes in for Kuro. I believe it was Doran's shield first, and then gets himself a cheeky ring.
A bit of ability power, given the ability power scaling on Windsor is higher. Is it trying to collapse on Key? That was some sick side steps.
Yeah, fancy footwork indeed. Someone makes his way around, and look at his swag walk at the same time. Rakan's just got such a swaggy walk. It's like, Yeah, you guys just missed me, man. It's fine.
He was one laugh away short of making that a Reddit-worthy play.
Someone could just put the laugh on there. It'll be fine. Still believe in it. There, W props. He going to get boosted. It's bottom side. Right, no more lovers' tussles now. I'm not going to see the Kalista Rakans where Zaya was just getting cheated on over and over again at Rift Rivals.
Yeah, I felt like Kalista was the true partner of Rakan, given the strength of that duo on the ROX Tigers before Rift Rivals and at Rift Rivals from basically every Korean team was falling over to draft it.
Yeah, first 2 SKT games, both of them with the Kalista Rakan duo.
I believe it had a 100% win rate at Rift Rivals, so
yeah.
With multiple games from different teams. Lets you know that it is very much the duo people are trying to put together, like Lucian Braum in previous metas was.
Yeah, just shows that, you know, might be this might be the couple right here, but sometimes you can just have that chemistry with somebody else. Can make things confusing.
I just love how the best possible duo lane has changed so many times. It feels like there's always at one point a duo lane where people are like, watch, don't let them get together, like the Kalista Rakan is. Lucian Braum was that at one point.
Tristana Blitzcrank was that at one point.
I mean, we saw Sona Cog yesterday, and that was a big one too. Someone is falling low, will be able to get escorted out by Lava.
That was close. Now Mowgli's going to continue chasing him down. I believe the Songwon will probably just have to go back to base unless Lava wants to come and help out.
It's cool to see Mowgli playing so aggressive. His debut was against Score, where Score's Ivern denied him every camp, and now seeing him on the front foot bullying around Songwon is a cool adaptation to see from a player who hasn't played professional in quite a while.
Yeah, now able to path up towards the top side of the map, knows that the counter gank isn't going to be there, and thankfully for Shy, does back away in time and has that Meganar at the ready. Marin continues. Oh, actually, going to be cancelled. And Mowgli once again going to spot out Songwon.
Kennen does really well into Nara, so it's surprising to see Nara drafted. It's good for team comp, I think that's why the Tigers have selected it, but... And just walk up an auto, and even with the buffed damage on the boomerang toss, which is not to be tried for, it's actually 40 base damage at level 9 when you have 5 points in Q. You don't stack a lot of health onto the side of the Kennen, so the hyper procs aren't as valuable as they are in other matchups.
And Kennen taking a couple of little hits, but not necessarily anything to worry about. Just probably won't be building the Hurricane this time, which had fallen out a little bit of favor.
And it went from total AD scaling to bonus AD scaling on the W, which means that level 1, you definitely do a lot less damage to the W procs, but finish the Blade of the Ruin King, get the 40 AD in, and you'll start to see some of that damage back.
Maybe we'll see some flat damage actually being built by Marin here on this cannon.
It's gone super laning priority with Double Doran's Blade to complement the earlier cull.
Unfortunately misses a cannon creep there, so it's a bit of a worry.
I know you always have a bit of pause when that happens.
I have big problems with cannon creeps going missing.
How do you feel about Galio's turret diving? Because Roy's going around the top side.
Ooh, he's got Bramble back on the mine, though. He's just looking to steal that one away. Mowgli's going to be here, and that's going to be a blue buff delivery while they lose this. Goro could possibly just head towards his own blue buff there as well and just do some jungling here on this Galio, but he wants to heroically enter the top side of the map as Shy, thankfully, will turn large relatively soon.
Are we going to fully brute force this? The minion wave's not in a great spot.
Mowgli just pops out of the jungle.
Wanted to use health regen runes.
Yeah, I liked it. Had no worries about that whole situation. Something bare necessity. Whoa! Nara into nothing there for Shy. Just wanted to press his R button while he had it up. Not going to be worried anymore. That was some excitement, just for no real gain as Kuro's going to pick up his blue buff.
Yeah, because Lava is against the Galio with the lesser pressure compared to the Cassidons or the LeBlancs of the world. Is able to just rush Trinity Force in this matchup, so we'll be hitting his one-item spike a lot cleaner. He was able to in game 1 where he was heavily delayed by the Cassidon.
Yeah, oh, actually, Kuro's going to turn this one around just a little bit. Gets the taunt, wins Aurora there, and has to flash to get out of the way of the explosive cast. So Songwon, successful gank. Lava has lost a bit of his health bar.
Release pressure from the Corki. Don't often want to be ganking the Galio, but in this case, getting a summoner is probably the maximum reward you're going to get against the super tank in the mid.
Yep. Okay. Shield, and that runic full walk. Otherwise, not too much more. Shy once again going to go large. Throw some stuff around. What's that, just a lump of concrete?
Don't like it.
I like the houses. They're my favorites. What are your favorites? What's your favorite thing for a Gnar to throw? Do you like the ice blocks with little penguins in them?
Sure. We'll go with that. I don't really have a full-formed opinion on Gnar skins.
Really?
Yeah, I don't play a lot of Gnar.
Well, he throws houses, he throws penguins, he throws lumps of concrete.
The Gentleman Gnar skin was probably my favorite.
Ah, the clocks. Yes. You're a clock throwing guy.
I guess
like
so.
it. Well, we'll see whether you can throw a clock out of this one. I'm not sure whether he will, as that's going to have to be a flash knock-up, and it does come in. First blood all too easily. Goes over to Mowgli, and it's doesn't matter what the duo is. Seems like Afreeca Freecs work through the top side.
I don't know about Shy's ordering as well. Flashed last as he was almost certainly going to die. Could have flashed and then hopped onto a minion and got away, but kind of mismanaged the situation. Ends up giving up the maximum of his flash and his life. Doesn't even have teleports to get back to lane. It's a big cost in the top side when he'd already drafted the Gnar into the cannon.
Unfortunate stuff, and Marin's actually going to go all in on his attack speed. Has the Berserker's Greaves and the recurve bow when he heads back to base. It's going to be the standard Black Cleaver pickup here for Shy, but I wonder what Marin's got for us. As this is most certainly going to start with the Blade of the Ruin King, but then where is it going? Who knows?
Phantom Dancer, I think, is probably going to be the more likely item.
I'd like it.
Given that the short attack range means that you don't get that much value out of Rapid Fire Cannon, which does scale with your own attack range. So Phantom Dancer just to be a single target jerk rather than the team fight builds you could build with Frozen Mallet and the Hurricane. Like you mentioned, the Hurricane interaction with building up the W procs is no longer there, so the attraction of building it is gone.
Yep. Speaking of, it's going to be smacking down Shy up on the top side, but Songwon wants to find his way in, but looks like this wave is going to be under control by the Afreeca Freecs, and as long as Marin isn't overly aggressive, it should be okay, as there's the hop in. He will have the Mega Gnar relatively soon, but he has to hit those boomerangs. And there's the stun. Marin actually almost getting the kill before Songwon can even turn up.
Yeah, Shy actually was tanking a full minion wave, and Marin smartly wasn't going to path towards the wall, so he put himself in a position to be Gnar'd into them. No flash Gnar to get an instant stun means that able to get away very safely, but if you bring enough bad guys, maybe you can make this work anyway.
Yep, the Goon squad turning up towards the top side, but there's going to be a heroic entrance
could be a
to help
turnaround.
them out. Exactly right. Heroic entrance comes in early as now Marin's just looking for Shy. No Naba there at all, and Shy's just left for the Wolves. Kuro picks up his slice of the pie, and the Afreeca Freecs once again off to a 2-0 start.
Yeah, now Shy is looking like he's going to be in a huge hole, dies a second time as his teammates could do nothing to help him. Marin the first time turned on Shy, took away 3/4 of his health. This time picks up the kill. Shy can teleport back in 10 seconds, but Marin has complete control of top lane.
Yeah, and it's the same case that it was in game number 1 as well, and we all saw how that one worked. Mowgli is going to find Songwon once again down to half health. Face checking these junglers as there's the Void Assault. Okay, he's looking for more, but there's the explosive cast. That's going to help out. Oh, Prey Seeker does get through the shield, but thankfully Songwon had it, so it isn't going to cost him his life. Okay, Void Rush was very close to killing that Gragas. Thankfully, he had the cask.
Gold lead in top side, 1200 bot lane.
Yeah, that is the grand entrance. Quickness comes out as well. The charm working out as now Featherstorm comes in. Kramer uses the heal, gets out of the way of the feathers, and the ROX Tigers. Powerful stuff towards the bottom side as the teleport's coming in back to the mid lane for Lava. That was a bit frightening. Now the Afreeca Freecs may have to go back.
And something that frightens me is actually the jungle enchants chosen by both junglers. It's Warrior enchant Mowgli coming through on the Rex side, not the Tiamat rush into Cinderhulk, not even the Cinderhulk rush, just a pure damage Rek'Sai, which why he did so much damage, Mowgli, when he went in with the Void Assault, which now has the 1.85 bonus AD scaling. Basically means it does tons of damage with the Rek'Sai ultimate, and it's not the Cinderhulk on the Gragas either. It's actually the Runic Echo that for sure was the common choice on 7-12, but with the buffs to Barmy Cinder and Cinderhulk, a lot of Gragas players, specifically the NA versus EU Rift rivals, were largely starting to go towards the Cinderhulk Gragas, so surprising to see no Cinderhulks in a game. I'm going to hazard a guess that we will not see this with any commonality in future weeks.
Yeah, seems very, very strange when, Cinderhulk gets buffed and we go on a full rant about it, and then you even get a Warrior Rek'Sai in the game. That just feels bad. Sangi is going to turn up towards the top side of the map. We are going to have that switcheroo. Skuro is going to teleport towards the bottom side, pick up this wave as it crashes forward. And Afreeca have done very good housework on their minion waves. Skoro's not going to be able to get that cancel. Does have his adaptive helm, though, which has a bit of extra health on it now.
So the reason why you see the teleport is they wanted to be able to get more minion waves across the map and not give up the maxims. They used the teleport, but as they were counter-rotating the duo lane to the top. Now the duo lane, and as you can see, it's all about the rock, paper, scissors in terms of lane assignments. Someone has tried to steal the red buff in the time.
Yeah, and the heroic entrance is going to be there. The Void Assault comes out. That's going to be Mowgli picking up the kill all too easily this time. The ult was already on cooldown, and Songwon just donates that red buff all the way back to Mowgli, and he'll transition immediately to this Infernal Drake. And for his first game of the season, Mowgli's looking good, but Songwon, I mean, what was he doing there, really?
I mean, Songwon's just trying to answer the early aggression with Mowgli with invades of his own, but in every scenario, he's been well answered. That's because he's trying to do it against Kuro on the Galio, against Kennen, who has been winning lanes straight up against the Gnar, and now has 2 kill involvements to his name, and it's a warrior Rek'Sai, so you make one mistake, and we already saw that Q... 3 procs of Q into the ultimate is doing massive damage, so just given how the game has gone, he doesn't have lane control or global investments to back him up, and it's the wrong time to try to go toe-to-toe with Mowgli.
Yeah, and you can say what you want about the Warrior Enchant first Rek'Sai, but if you manage to actually get the proactive kills, it's such a dangerous build, especially now, given the fact that the ultimate does so much more damage now as well. It is frightening. It was already buffed enough, I felt. But now it's possible to dodge, and it does more damage. Not fair. Just doesn't seem fair. As the mid lane has moved towards the bottom side, we've got duo lanes in the mid lane. Kramer and Toos are going to be holding up shop there. Marin doesn't want to move. Wants to try and take down this turret if he can. Songwon's just going to leave Shy on his own.
Looking around the Rift Herald, just been leashed by the barrel coming over. Lucian Braum can just walk up, and it is Blade the Ruin King coming through from the Lucian as a first item, so it's very possible they try and take down this objective. Will despawn in just over 3 minutes' time.
Hope everyone saw the fact that Kuro bought 2 shoes. I like it. Had 2 shoes in the bank just for a moment there, and then sold them for a Glacial Shroud, but understands how many legs Galio has, and that's important.
A control ward in this area. ROX do as well, so they don't seem to want to be able to give up the Rift Herald without a fight. There is entrance available. They have to watch that here, ROX Tigers.
Oh, Grand Entrance still being held onto here by Key as well as he battle dances his way over to Songyun. Marin turns himself up, does have the ultimate available, and there's the the heroic entrance, but it's a little bit too early as there's the double stun. Now the Glacial Fissure comes out, and the culling is just thrown straight into Songwon. Kramer is going to be able to pick up that kill as the ROX Tigers. Health bars are low, but they're able to turn this one around as the Feather Storm comes in. Kuro now right in amongst it, but he's going to be taken down 2 for 1. Now in favor of ROX, who just team fought that one nicely. But Marin, rush of blood to the head, as he is wont to do sometimes.
Yeah, Galio was not able to get a taunt on the second rotation. The kiting damage from the Featherstorm and Songyun, as they kited back, did so much more damage with the extra range than Afreeca Freecs could do. Lucian's culling down early meant they didn't have enough damage, and in the end, it does end up being a trade-up for the Tigers. Perhaps the first time this series they've found their nose ahead. We're going to see the replay. Marin comes in, he has the hero's entrance, but he's super, super squishy. He even went Berserker's Greaves for the build, so it doesn't end up being the knock-up party, even with the Glacial Fissure afterwards, that the Afreeca Freecs thought would propel them to a teamfight victory. Teamfighting with an AD Cannon has let down many teams in the past, and the setup here wasn't clean enough, even after the early advantages that Cannon had gotten, to actually win a teamfight. Yeah,
it was just really smooth positioning from ROX as well, as Key was able to CC the key targets and everybody else was able to just create the space. The front line for Afreeca Freecs could not make enough room for the damage dealers. Or really, the damage dealer, as Marin died basically at the beginning of the fight.
I mean, everything from Afreeca Freecs is based on the early game. Warrior Enchant Rek'Sai. Very strong one-item damage power spike on a melee champion. Will build tank after that. On-hit Cannon is all about taking early turrets and finding lane advantages. He's done that. Galio, even further nerfs to damage. Means that the pushing isn't as good in general. Is a early to mid-game champion, and it's Lucian AD carry. They don't even have a late game, so they need to keep up the plays like you see on the map.
Yeah. Shy actually has to blow his flash towards the top side as Mowgli turns up once again. Outer turret falling is going to keep Afreeca Freecs in the lead as far as gold is concerned, but if fights keep going the way they do for the Tigers, it's looking fantastic for them.
It does feel as an inevitability about the game as it goes on. So what ROX need to do, I so often say this in games like this, is set up a control ward line, have an area of scrimmage which they can defend, and stop Afreeca from just getting the maximum from their early game power spikes.
Yeah. Well, Kramer going to be joined by Tucson there. He's taking a bit of damage. Sangyun is starting to ramp up. Static Shiv is actually opted in for here for the ROX Tigers AD carry. Now heading towards his Infinity Edge for that 3-item spike that everyone wants on the Xayah. Lava's looking to try and do damage to Kuro, but gets through the shield-ish. And everything's going to be okay. ROX actually looking to collapse onto Kuro. Justice Punch is still going to be there for him to create some distance. It still has his flash as Marin is fighting Shy once again. That is just going to be enough. The Void Rush almost unnecessary out of Mowgli.
Shy doesn't have any wards on that side of the map. Only one very shallow ward to the left of, or below I should say, is in a turret. So we'll just lose out in that scenario. And the predictably was no way to turret dive a Adaptive Helm, Glacial Shroud, Ninja Tabi Galio.
Yeah, that was going to be a rough choice.
Low percentage choice as well.
Yep.
Could have just played around power. They have a couple of things to deal with. The Cannon free pushing, the Rift Herald in the mid lane, but instead chose to gank Gallios. That's a decision-making mistake from ROX.
Well, Freecs in the meantime were able to pick up that Rift Herald, so he's going to get a charge onto this outer turret. Glacial Fissure does come in from Tucson just to buy the space to take down the turret, and they should be able to do so as Rift Herald. Oh, okay. Someone's got to breathe on that turret. That's at 11 health.
11 HP.
That's at 1 health twice.
That's not how math works at all, Atlas.
Oh, well, Kuro says that he can do at least 11 damage in one auto attack. Does so. Justice punches his way out as Sangyun looking to slow down Tucson. Teleport's coming in now for the ROX Tigers as Lava makes his way over. Package is going to be delivered and Mowgli is going to be the recipient. See you later. Back to the Death Chamber as that is going to be tower traded for that kill and the teleport, I guess, from Lava.
But will this just be Baron to the side of ROX Tigers? 21 minutes into the game, the Smite is dead. This is the time for the ROX Tigers to finally take control of the game.
Well, they got a fair bit of Wombo ability still, even with only 4 members available. The teleport is going to be coming in from Kuro, who now has full health once again, and this Baron is doing damage. Remember, it's a Runic Echoes.
Oh, baby!
They start this fight off, and Shy looks for the Gnar. Doesn't quite get the stuns that they want. An heroic entrance is going to be good. Marin actually, enough space on the back end as Kramer with the fadeaway Culling's going to be able to do the work. The Gnar is really not necessarily the one that's able to get the work done for ROX so far, because he's so far behind, but that is going to deter them from doing the Baron, even though ROX only lose one.
But the traction of drafting a Gnar is that even if you fall behind, team fights, you can still get the Wombo engaged. So not getting it here is critical. Kuro goes for the very solo queue-esque play of just backdooring the turret. He's Galio, he thinks he'll be fine, but with the teleport up, someone was going to be caught. It ended up being Mowgli, which is probably the worst person because it gave an invitation to the Baron. We'll get to the Baron play in a minute as we watch Marin soloing down the Ocean Drake. Apparently won't get to see the replay. I would love to see the team fight, but the Gnar being such a big misfire is another query to why they drafted Gnar in this spot when it already didn't do well in lane. You have to make it work in team fights, and that was not what they were looking for.
Yeah, they had plenty of other options as well. Not a lot of top laners were banned away. I mean, it was the Shen and Rumble and Renekton and Jace. So 4. So quite a few. Never mind, take it all back. But there was still more, you know. Jarvan could have been opted in for as well. Other things. They could have flexed the Gragas up there. There's quite a few options. Try and get a decent matchup into the cannon. Probably wouldn't have been Gragas.
Gragas himself has gone for the Knight's Vow, which is pretty common, but doesn't have the Cinder Hulk to get the maximum value out of the Cinder Hulk and Knight's Vow scaling.
Yeah. Interestingly, Marin's actually gone for the Rapid Fire Cannon.
Yeah, well,
like
I wasn't
talking about.
I wasn't expecting though to be the Phantom Dancer, but maybe because he's winning trades so simply, it was like the extra auto attack onto a turret might be the big attraction there. Usually, I would expect the Phantom Dancer, but Marin is the Cull Rush in almost every matchup guy, so
yeah,
give him a free pass to build offensively.
Question is where he goes from here. It would be interesting to see what it is going to be.
Could be double Zeal, honestly. I don't think they want a team fight here, Afreeca, as they will continue to fall off in that particular regard.
Okay, so Songwon is going to be able to take away the blue buff, but it means that it's not going to go over to Lava. Anything like that. Freecs continuing to take control of this river. You can see top side of the map owned by Freecs. Once that Baron was taken away from the ROX Tigers, that decent team fight for the Freecs, they have been able to retain a decent amount of control, even though there is still one ward sitting on it.
And when it comes to ownership, which I think is a really good way to call, control ward area.
Yeah.
There is no control wards on the map at all from the ROX Tigers, so it's something for them. They just put down there first around the red brush, but getting some vision control of their own is something to set up for in the next few minutes. Difficult when Nara is already so far behind and not grouped. Songwon's the only person who can really start putting down vision at present without being caught.
In fact, that ward line is very aggressive from Afreeca, even on the bottom side of the map. That sort of ring of vision around the blue buff where they were just contesting. So once again, the Black Cleaver build coming in from the Lucian. Pick up that with the Blade of the Ruin King as opposed to what used to be the Ghost Blade for that very quintessential build earlier on.
I think we'll be seeing too many Ghost Blades in the future. 714 just hit live servers, and that has future tweaks towards Ghost Blade. Certainly heavily fallen out of favor.
Looking forward to the Thornmail meta as well. That item looks ridiculous on the next patch. Not in just yet, but I missed old Randuin's Omen passive. It's good to just put it on top of an item that was already worth buying, but now offers Grievous Wounds as well. What? Duh.
Yeah, the Grievous Wounds part, I think, is
it's just crazy, man.
It's the first time tanks have had access to Grievous Wounds, as it was gated to Executioner's Calling in a long time ago that obviously no one ever built. Now, does build into the Last Whisper evolution of the Mortal Reminder, so AD carries can commonly build it. And then there was the Merlinomicon for mages, but it's the first time tanks have really had access to healing reduction, so they're even better at running enemy AD carries and either killing them or forcing them out of a fight.
And now what is the counter to Thornmail? Because it used to be just build Bloodthirster and things would be K. Now you can't even do that. Grievous Wounds is going to stop all of your party times.
Build a Zonius, get a bit of stasis.
Oh, that's a good idea.
We saw Lee Sin with Zonius at Rift Rivals. Anything's possible, Atlas.
Yeah, it's true. If your Guardian Angel's on cooldown, build a Zonius. That's how it works. Keeps you alive for a little bit longer, do some more funny business.
I look at tanks being empowered and I think, what about Cogmore? Maybe Cogmore's gotten better again.
Hey, yeah, true.
Dr. Mundo looks at that item and smiles, that's for sure.
Oh, God. Well, you mentioned Double Zeal item, Pop Smithy. That's a Static Shiv, not a Phantom Dancer. Still waiting for the Phantom Dance. Maybe that's going to come in 4th attack speed.
Well, he's not going to build Infinity Edge, so why not?
Yeah. Just build that before he builds his inevitable Wit's End for his 2.5 attack speed cannon.
Maybe Guardian Angel next from Marin, but with that nerfs to the Frozen Mallet side of the coin, is just happy to go high damage build and keep pushing in the Gnar. But as nothing happens, we do once again start to reach the breaking points where the early power spikes on basically every build from Freecs do start to come apart at the seams.
Marin has so much wave clear as well, so you can see he's just able to get so much time just to roam around and put vision into the enemy jungle and set themselves up for this split push. Songyun as well has hit his 3-item spike with the Infinity Edge now complete. Very even on farm as Rapid Fire Cannons just come in for Kramer, but that damage potential from the Xayah is huge right now.
So yes, advantage for Marin is huge as well. Close to a Flame Horizon, a second game in a row.
The back-to-back Flame Horizons, what does it mean?
Against different opponents, remember?
Yeah, true.
I'd actually like to see the lane assignment of Galio bot lane, because he has good interrupts to the Gnar. Keep Gnar out of the fight, and then just have the cannon push up top lane and turn onto the Baron. That, to me, is the right lane assignment for the side of Afreeca, and they seem to agree as cannon is entering the top side.
Actually went back and bought his QSS as well, so it's going to be Mercurial Scimitar as item number 4. The cannon, unless you include boots, in which case we'll go with number 5. Don't get pedantic on me.
You got pedantic with yourself.
Yeah. A theoretical someone getting pedantic is what I was hoping to try and dissuade, as there's the package just being used to get back to lane. Love it. Of course, running out on that cooldown. ROX have set themselves up with some decent vision on the top side, giving them an avenue towards this Drake. This group up is 4. As you can see, Marin's actually taking the red buff.
Got a teleport ward. He's going for the more shallow one.
Yeah, and it looks like Freecs want to grab their 3rd dragon of the game, wanting to hold on to this one. Bit of a speed up there for the ROX Tigers, who are looking for their way in, and Shy still not here at this fight just yet. Kuro's going to back his way out. Unbreakable's there as now Mowgli. He needs to tunnel his way out the back, and this dragon still getting angry with members of Freecs or the ROX Tigers, depending on which one is going to start hitting it. The feathers are starting to stack up, and now ROX They're looking for their opportunity. A blue buff comes down for Lava just in the midst of it as now Kuro looking for the stuns, and now the whole fight's been broken up. It's going to be the Dragon going to Mowgli, but who's going to be able to win the fight? Massive AoE in the backline as the heroic exit comes out from Kuro and needs to try and get that Justice Punch to make his way out. Good knock up, and that's going to spell the end of the Galio. And now the Afreeca Freecs well and truly on the run. The flash forward, Tucson going to flash in response. And stands behind his teammate. Things will be very close to not fine, but are fine in the end.
It could have been more for the side of ROX. Gnar did not find an opportunity to use the Gnar ultimate, even though the transformation was at the perfect time. Some recalls are forced to come through. Mowgli walks up alone. He gets the information that Baron has been started.
Yeah. Does know that he can make his way in there as well as Marin's going to turn up. Still has the ultimate. And he does a lot of damage as Lava takes a lot as well. Mowgli gets himself into the pit, but it's not going to be the Baron steal. Gnar into the wall means that the Rek'Sai's dead, but Kramer, can he do the damage? They're low health bars, but Marin's going to be taken down. It's a double kill, as well as the Baron being taken down for Sangyun. Playing beautifully, and Kramer gets flanked, and Lava tears him apart. Tucson is going to follow. That's going to be the ace, and Afreeca, it's Game 2 syndrome all over again.
It certainly is, Atlas. The Game 2 script was written before it even started. Afreeca went super early game with their draft, but that means you can't afford to make small mistakes like they have again and again when everyone puts their value in the early game. No smite was actually used by either jungler, and it was just claimed by Xayah, of all people. And the moment that you're team fighting with full damage AD on hit cannon, you know the mistake has been made earlier.
And especially when you're jumping into a Thunderdome with a Xayah there as well, who is just able to do so much damage from the safety of the middle of the team. Now with that Baron up, yeah, no smites being used, and that Baron went down to 230 health, Papa Smithy. A little bit of a fat finger maybe from Mowgli or from Songwon as well, because that Baron probably should have been smoked at some point. But Shy's going to get his split push on towards the bottom side of the map. The Tigers are going to be able to take down the inner turret in the mid lane. This lead of 2,000 gold is only going to extend as there is so much standing gold on this map. Even the top lane, you can see outer turrets still available.
It's so heavy in the outscale that honestly I don't know what Afreeca Freecs can do to get back into this game. Would require a wombo engage onto Corki and Xayah, both of them dying, but instead, both of them have 4 kills. All the kills go to the double Infinity Edge carries, and Afreeca Freecs don't have a comp that has access to the backline. If Kennen tries to get there, he will die instantly. Sure, they can try the Rek'Sai and Galio wombo combo, but the bouncy party is just going to be interrupted by damage. They really have no option to try to stop the ROX Tigers from just walking around, taking free turrets, and even Gnar, who has done basically nothing this game, is able to just be a ranged auto attacker in the side lane and take down turrets.
Yeah. And I actually really like the Gragas pick up here as well. We were asking questions of it in the draft because the Rek'Sai was open when they picked it up. But does work for disrupting the fight and getting the cannon out of the way. I mean, of course, it wasn't even picked yet, but it seems like the Tigers knew something that we may have not. These turrets continue to evaporate on this map. Shy deals with the top outer in this inhibitor. Not long for the world, it feels like. The ROX pushing forward 4 versus 5 confidently here in the mid lane.
Looking to push up, take their first inhibitor. So much damage on Corki and Xayah. It's trivial as with the Baron buff. See, Gnar having a happy time in top lane. Everything going the way of ROX.
Yeah. He's having a very happy time as well. Listen to him. Yeah, he's having a good time. Definitely having a good time. Takes down that inner turret, and this lead that was basically nothing has now extended to about 6,000. And they're looking to continue now as they're going for a dive. Okay, Featherstorm comes out. Not going to find any damage onto anyone. The Afreeca Freecs may have actually bought themselves some space here towards the top side.
They got the easy objectives. There was no need to turret dive. The Mega Gnar was running out on the side of Shy, so smart to just back away. Out of nowhere, kind of click their fingers, and 7 turrets, largely from the Baron buff, have been taken down by the ROX Tigers. The gold lead out of nowhere is 6,000 gold as well, and everyone's decked across the lineup of ROX Tigers.
Yeah, Sangyun's actually going for a Blade of the Ruin King, which is an odd one. I would have expected Bloodthirster or something like that. Like it a little bit more. Not a whole lot of tanks on the side of the Afreeca Freecs. There's Marin. Okay. It's one casual crit coming out of Lava. There's a lot of damage. Oh, he's got his 4th item spike. That's what's happened.
First really big game-breaking performance from Lava. Has played now, will be his 4th game.
Yeah?
fifth game, I should say. It definitely didn't look anything special in his first series. On more of a lane-dominant champion, the Corki didn't have to deal with the Cassidy this time, as Afreeca did put Kuro mid lane. They haven't made much from the Galio. The Rose interests haven't been massive. They may just watch another turret go down.
Well, the package does have to get expended, so maybe an opportunity for the Afreeca Freecs, but they have to deal with the super creeps in the mid lane. And while they're doing that, Sangyun does so much damage to the turret and to the inhibitor. Then immediately afterwards, there's the Gnar. The triple knockback is going to come in, but not a lot of stuns, as there's a heroic entrance. Can Afreeca Freecs find something back here as Shy soaking so much damage? Mowgli evaporates in the backline, but now Kramer is getting the damage through. Songwan takes a lot, and now Sangyun gets exhausted, but they just don't have enough damage to finish him off, and Lava's still there doing so much work. It's a 1-for-1 trade, key for Mowgli. The Afreeca Freecs at least hold on for the moment.
Yeah, the front line not quite sturdy enough to allow Lava and Sangyun to free hit. In the end, they both have to back away. Flash and heal used on Sangyun, but they get the objective and largely get out. It's still a success for the ROX Tigers. Picking up the Elder Dragons, it's going to be a denial buff from the side of the Tigers, and Afreeca might actually hard commit. They're the only one that has any Drake buffs.
Yeah, they're actually going to head over here as well, so they can see that they're going for it. Kuro and Marin just want to get them out of the way. That was double teleport invested into that play.
No way for Rek'Sai to get there quickly. Will be home guarding out of base. They don't have a lot of time either. Remember, they do have 2 downed inhibitors.
Yep, teleport's going to come in here from Lava, utilizing the Corki teleport. I like it. Now they're going for this fight. Finally, Key does turn up, and Mowgli's going to get here as well. So it is a 5v5.
Job for ROX is to buy as much time as possible. Get the Mega Gnar back up as Shy's just about to run out, and let the minions do the work.
Oh, and Key's actually looking for this flanking grand entrance, which could be very important. Just uses it to get out of the way, and Afreeca realize that their time has run out. This Elder Drake should go over to the Tigers pretty easily.
Yeah, good waiting game from the ROX Tigers. They could just wait on the next Mega Gnar, just suck in the Afreeca Freecs and stop them from protecting their base. Afreeca made the smart move. There was a window to rush it down or contest. 15 seconds later, that window was closed. Smarter them to back away. To give away an Elder Dragon, but it's the lowest value Elder Dragon possible. No buffs to buff it up, so only the base burn damage coming through for the Elder.
Still items being picked up here for the Afreeca Freecs as well. Mercurial Scimitar now done. The right hand facing multicolored swords looks fantastic as well. So, I mean, Afreeca Freecs may not be winning, but as far as decorating is concerned, just brilliant. Once again, I mean, we're fishing for positives on the side of Afreeca at this stage of the game after losing that Baron and then the Elder. Baron is going to come back up once again. You can see the ROX Tigers already well and truly poised to try and pick that one up, utilize that not necessarily massive Elder Dragon buff.
It's so surreal that the same coaching staff drafted the Game 1 and Game 2 comps for the Afreeca Freecs.
Yeah.
The Lucian 80 carry was unnecessary. It wasn't a big flex. It was taken in the same round of the draft as the Cannon. Really kind of strange to see how Afreeca Freecs ended up with these champions that so hard outscaled if they made any mistakes.
They did make them as well. They're just trying to hold on to their last remaining inhibitor. Baron still being completely warded up by Afreeca Freecs, actually, as they were able to sneak themselves up there, and Mowgli looking for a way to get in the backside.
Able to get one inhibitor back up. Bottom turret, bottom inhibitor probably will go down if they contest the Baron. No teleports up for Marin or Kuro. And that is a fast Baron.
That is an extraordinarily fast Baron, and they do have those feathers on the ground as well, as Kuro's going to move his way in. Songwan is going to be able to lock this one down just fine. ROX Tigers now back themselves away, and Justice Punch is interrupted. Shy jumps in, he's got the Mega Gnar available, but decent spacing comes out of the Afreeca Freecs. Shy soaking a lot, but isn't actually getting too much space bought for his backline, who only take half the health of Mowgli and Tucson.
In the picture-in-picture, you can see that even just occupying the time of the Afreeca Freecs is all they need to do. One Nexus turret already goes down.
Yep, Shy utilizes his health bar before and now just teleports back after he gets that one out. And Mowgli, no man's land, tunnels his way out, but he's still getting chased down. The Hyper comes in. Heal comes out as well. Mowgli is left alive as there's the explosive cast for the finish. And Kuro now finds himself overextended. He's not going to be able to get his CC in there. And look at that burst damage. In goes Shy. Another wallop is going to stun up Tucson. He's going to fall. And now Marin just runs forward in desperation. The Afreeca Freecs are going to get tied up once again. It's a 2-1 dream for this team. 2-0 so far this season, but it's been all about winning and losing and winning and losing, and we don't necessarily know what we're going to get, and it makes it so exciting. But the ROX Tigers play this one out so much better.
Yeah, the Afreeca Freecs are still must-see TV. You never know what you'll get out of this squad. Game 1, close to perfection. Game 2, such a narrow win condition that inevitably they made one mistake, and their draft really kind of let them down in terms of getting back into the game. So we will be going to a climactic third game. Red side so far has been the winning side in both games, and really no idea what we'll see from Afreeca because ROX just played pretty standard League of Legends. Shy had one of the worst Gnar performances we've seen in a long time, and yet wasn't even needed to be on point with his Mega Gnar ultimates, and it was a pretty comfortable victory, all things considered, for ROX Tigers.
And it shows once again that the bottom lanes is where it's all about with both of these teams a large portion of the time, because that Xayah was so good out of Sangi, and I'd like to have a look at the damage graph because I have a feeling he probably did a whole bunch of work throwing those feathers around the map.
But it was a good game from Mowgli coming in, even if it was a defeat. Interested to see if Spirit will come back on, but the experience edge in Game 3. The ROX Tigers, they still want to cement their win streak. They can move to 4 wins in a row. Whatever you can say about the draft, they still were the ones to win Game 2. And now it's all left to a best of 1. Kind of on the nose after Rift Rivals, but a best of 1 to decide whether it will be ROX Tigers extending their lead or Afreeca Freecs finding their way back to the top 5.
Yeah, and the Tigers can go back to the drawing board and make sure that they don't fall into the same trap that they did last time around, because Afreeca, a lot of it was to do with the surprise draft with the Galio being in the support position as opposed to that mid lane or the top lane or something like that. So still a lot of question marks for both of these teams, and we'll see how it's going to go as we hop to a quick break before Game 3.